Well, this is Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment, demo. Today's the demonstration of this game, which I will be evaluating when I buy it. So for right now, this game is not going to be played for the month of um, June, because that's going to be Doom Eternal. But then I thought to myself, man, I've been playing nothing but violent, aggressive games for the past 3 months. Last time I did an actual investigation game was Return of the Obra Dinn, and that was all the way in, um, I believe, September or August of 2024. So I think it's back to it, back to my favorite games. And my favorite games are always games that have a certain type of mysteries to it, have a certain type of action to it, a certain type of adventure to it, and a certain type of intrigue to it. All of them combined together. So uh, this wouldn't be my favorite game because it doesn't have all those things, but it is in my top three. Usually there's a top 10 of things when you're judging what's your top 10 best selection of anything, but your top three are usually gold, silver, and bronze, that type of stuff. And when it comes to genre, my top three genres have always been action adventure, mystery, or mystery slash action adventure. What is action adventure separate from mystery? Mystery games will be second, and third from that will always be role playing games. Then again, actually, action adventure falls into role playing games, so I guess third from that will be fighting games. Yeah, so that's how it goes. Action adventure, which is role playing action adventure. Then is mystery and role playing mystery or exploration mystery, anything in mystery, and then there's fighting games, and that's it. Um, would I say horror falls into this? Actually, no. Think about it. No. As much as I love fighting games, I believe horror would fall into the third place. Yeah, horror would fall into the third place because one thing I've learned from horror movies or horror games and horror board games is that horror games have everything except for the action. They have you trying to escape from a terrible situation, but it's not really like blow 'em up, shoot 'em up, fighting a big boss type action scenes. It's always more like scared for your life type situation, trying to escape or trick an enemy into something. Um, but horror games have always had a who done it to it, or how to solve a mystery or escape a situation. So there's always a mystery in horror games, even though most horror games aren't really about mystery, or should I say most horror films aren't really about mystery, but some of them are, or some of them that are actually good are. So I would say, yeah, my top three would be horror games, action adventure games, and mystery games. Because a mystery game doesn't really have to be a horror game in order to be mystery or detective slash mystery. Return of the Obra Dinn or Brock the Investigator. These are all process of elimination slash mystery games. Disco Elysium is a mystery game or detective game, but there's no horror in there. It's just adventure. So horror or mystery doesn't have to do, or detective games don't have to be aligned with horror. They they actually could be separate from each other and not dependent on each other whatsoever. If a horror game has a sense of mystery in it, then that's a plus, but it typically are separate from each other. So those are my top three. All games that I'll always play over and over again. Action adventure games, horror games, and of course mystery. If fighting games would be just something that would come in fourth place, but would never be in the top three because each of these type of games that are in the top three, there's a sense of story in them. There's a sense of mystery in them. There's a sense of thrill in them. There's a sense of foreboding expectations in them. There's a sense of um, underlying thread with regards to what's going on. Some of them don't need a mystery in order to have a thread of woven um, substance or characters. It could just be intricately placed together after each other or in certain set places. I guess you could say there's a mystery to that, but mystery is usually about you solving something rather than the story is set up in a very intricate way. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this demo for right now, and I'm playing this because every now and again I have to get a feel to get back into my comfort zone, and my comfort zone will always be one of those three: horror, action and adventure, like Ico or something, or God of War, or a mystery game like Sherlock Holmes or Ace Detective. It's mostly Sherlock. I would say when it comes to the detective game, my favorite will always be I would say my favorite will always be probably Disco Elysium because Disco Elysium is so intricately woven from beginning to end. By the time you figure out what's going on at the end and who's the killer, it turns out to be not who you think it is, to be something totally different. At the end, you kind of get pissed off that whoever you thought was the killer was kind of unsatisfying, but then it made sense for what was always going on. But at the end of Disco Elysium, it's like, well, this person didn't really have any existence within the game whatsoever at all. He was never present whatsoever at all. But that's just the end bad guy. The entire story of Disco Elysium is masterfully done, except for the final boss or the main bad guy. So that's only one bad thing about Disco Elysium. There are several, but they're very small. Disco Elysium only had one really bad issue, and that was that boss. And then there's external issues like streamer mode not being registered by YouTube and all that crap. But yeah, I could say LA Noire is my number one, but I found Disco Elysium to be very far more fascinating than LA Noire. How it was done, how it was introduced. And then I guess Sherlock would be in second place and LA Noire will be in third.
Holmes! Holmes, will you stop that? You are utterly mad. stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate.
Here's another good example. This is why I chose Disco Elysium. Out of all the games I've played associated
Lestrade.
with mystery,
What is it this time?
Disco Elysium has
You
the
can
most
see me.
interesting
Well,
introduction
here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes.
with regards
A
to a
gentleman by the
character.
name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
A sailor, most probably.
What happened here?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
It's the only exercise I've had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
I missed 4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Black Peter.
Peter Carey, born in 1845 and 50 years old. An ambitious sort, he achieved much success in seal and whale hunting around Scandinavia. Retired in 1884 with a...
Never mind. I just remembered. Return of the Obra Dinn was good from beginning to end. The only bad part of Return of the Obra Dinn is that it was a process of elimination game. You were just collecting information with regards to making sure the insurance was paid off to those who needed, to families of the dead members. So you were more of an insurance guy more than anything. But the process of elimination, the deduction, and figuring things out for yourself and how the game was set up is pretty damn good from beginning all the way to end. So I would say my top 3 mystery games will always be Disco Elysium, Return of the Obra Dinn, and of course Sherlock Holmes. If not Sherlock, I would say L.A. Noire. But I believe I kind of like Sherlock a little bit better than L.A. Noire. But yeah, I mean, I played Return of the Obra Dinn start to finish, played Disco Elysium start to finish. Return of the Obra Dinn is shorter than Disco Elysium, but something about Disco Elysium is fascinating because it deals with psychological trauma and a whole lot more than just solving a mystery. It deals with friends, family, trust, overcoming middle age crisis. It's a lot of things happening in that game. Acceptance and getting over lost love. A lot of things were happening in that game. A lot of mental, psychological things as well. So yeah, I would say Disco Elysium, just as a game as whole, even without the mystery, is far more fascinating game than most games within the mystery genre. As a detective game, it's like not the best detective game, but as a completionist game, and with everything else happening and interesting characters, interesting story plots, subplots, it's better than many mystery games and many detective games. So I would always have Disco Elysium as my number one because as a game, it just felt very complete in absolution. When you finish the game and he goes off into the sunset, you know, you felt like you've completed a journey and solved not just a puzzle, but helped the man become a better person. So I would always put Disco Elysium as my number one and Return of the Obra Dinn as my number two, simply because Return of the Obra Dinn is far more of a detective game than most detective game, even though it's more process of elimination. Um, but it deserved to be that second spot. Even though I would say Disco Elysium had a very interesting premise with regards to who the killer was and who really done it. It was very complicated. It wasn't easy. Yeah, I would say it makes sense. I'm really, really thinking on it. Like L.A. Noir, Return to Oberdin. I think I put Return to Oberdin above L.A. Noir, and simply because I would put Return of the Oberdin above Pride and Prejudice and above Disco Elysium, simply based on deductions or process of elimination. But there wasn't a strong story there, and character, and the whole purpose of the game was insurance claim. So I could never put that as a number one, but at least it's a number two. And L.A. Noir would be my number three. And of course, if not L.A. Noir number three, it would be Sherlock Holmes series. Yeah, I think it would be this game, Crimes and Prejudice. I mean, Crimes and Punishment. If not Crimes and Punishment, it will be L.A. Noir. It's one of them is in the number three slot. I don't
Small
know.
fortune. He invested his money in a property called Woodman's Lee, near Forest Row in Sussex. It was where he lived for 6 years, and where he was found dead yesterday.
Has the investigation already begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Give me half an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The Medi Men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should help Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone then.
So from the jump, it's starting you off with investigation. Throw you right into it right away. Your task today is to investigate the murder of Peter Carey. Expect a crime scene at Woodman's Lee. Select a suit to wear using your personal wardrobe and join instead Woodman's Lee. Lestrade, submitted to Baker Street. Place to Holmes, a grotesque affair that involved former captain known as Black Peter. Grotesque affair. Okay. So we're investigating the death of Black Peter, located around Baker Street. At Woodman's Lee. Or wait a minute. Okay, so Baker Street is where Holmes is at, and I have to go to Woodman's Lee, different location. There's no zooming and zooming out, so there's that. Okay, so right away you're thrown into the investigation. So the first thing I do, as in all mystery games, this is the same thing I've always done. Spotlights. Everything is blacked out right now. The canvas is cleared, and then all of a sudden a picture is put on that canvas, and that no spotlight is on anyone yet, because there's no identification of anyone yet except Black Peter himself. So if there's any spotlight or any light to be shown, it would be Black Peter himself. But he's a victim, he's dead. We don't know how he died, so you can't identify him as any type of killer unless he decided to kill himself. So I'm gonna start off from the basis. What can I see within the image of the character of Black Peter? Background. I can't see that much in the background, but it does look like there's a vase in the background and a cupboard. And his outfit, what he's wearing, long beard, shirt with a vest, very tattered looking, baldish in hair. As a kind of, he doesn't look sickly, he just looks old for a 50-year-old man, so that's obvious. And he is a whale hunter, so his skin will be pale from the coal, so that makes sense. But nothing is standing out with regards to the text of the words and the image itself, such as Peter Carey means nothing. It's a name, and people call him Black Peter. The only thing that stands out there is, why is he called Black Peter? Because he's a wicked man? Because he has black fingers? Because he has a black beard? Because he does shady deals? Who knows? But he achieved great success doing whale hunting. Does that make him Black Peter? Not really. So there's nothing really to go on except the obvious. He died. At age 50. And he was a whale hunter. And the image that shows him shows a cupboard and a vase looking. So nothing much to go on. Where he was born is unknown. Time of birth is 1845. Is that relevant? Not really. Retired in 1884 and moved to Woodman's Lee, where he got killed. So if the reason his death is relevant to his career choice or his name, it would have to do with a whale hunting accident or incident in his name. Retired at 1884, but he wasn't doing any whale huntings when he retired. So the incident could be either someone wanted him to do something, even though he refused to do it because he's in retirement, or he decided to get out of retirement at age 50 or after age 50 and something went wrong. But who knows? So far, no one has a spotlight on them, including Black Peter. It's too easy. Documents, none. Souvenirs, none. Echoes, none. Character profiles. Echoes. Like death echoes? Are they ghosts in here? Or echoes of the past, as in memorandums? Interesting. Alright, so
You go along to Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
not so much interested in Holmes' little life. But I am interested in one thing, though. That's interesting. There's a woman staring directly at him. Can I just zoom out and zoom in? I cannot. Now, why would he be looking at this woman? It's not like she's the most attractive woman in the world. Makes no sense. Maybe that's not a woman. She's obviously aware that he's looking at her. He likes to work out. Punching bag here.
My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
We have here nothing much. Places you've been. I should increase the lighting a little. A little too bright.
Oh, what a mess! What a terrible mess!
Okay. Door to Watson's room. Interesting. Let's see. Letters.
This is where I keep my post.
Okay.
This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Master of Disguises as well. His job requires him to be more discreet. But for this situation, he doesn't really need to disguise himself. I think I'll put on a casual for the moment. Okay, visualization, things based on your eyes, and perception. Okay. Subtitles on. Movement is a bit rough. Let's say. I wouldn't say rough as it is in tanky. It's just a little bit unbalanced. Okay, we're gonna go here. So I'm only gonna play this for about an hour. It's just a demo, so we'll see how things play out. And then I'm gonna do my Warframe stuff because, well, 2 days from now is the free items giveaway, and of course, it falls on Saturday, the day I'm going to be working, so I'll have to do it a bit early, probably around 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 p.m. to about 10. That's when I'm gonna do it. Because weekend work typically are late, and weekday work are typically
Mr.
in the
Holmes,
morning.
I'm over here. Come on.
Inspector Lestrade. So, things based on sight. Should be known as things based on sight and sound. It's strange though, it doesn't give you a description with regards to R1 and L1 when he's using his power or his perception. Typically you have an archive that tells you a dossier that describes certain things you've found or unique abilities you have, if not that, an encyclopedia that describes exactly what it is that you can do. If, even if not for something like that, it could be a simple tutorial. There seemed to be nothing present. Center D-pad does nothing. R2 does nothing. L2 does nothing. Up does nothing. Down. Triangle does this. Circle brings up your inventory or your effects. Things that you're supposed to do for the day. Circle cancel it out, quits. Circle also puts you into first person mode if you don't want to be in third person, which is good. X does nothing. And of course, option button allows you to bring up the options so you could change certain things with regards to how to play. Switch characters. Okay, I get to play as Watson and Holmes, I'm assuming. Which is obvious. It is a Sherlock Holmes is typically a story about not just Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes and Watson. But it'd be fun if it turns out to be more than just Sherlock and Watson, that I could switch characters, because it says characters. So, two's company, three's a crowd. So I guess the minimum under the word characters could be two. Typically is usually three. But then again, obviously, if it's more than one, it's characters. So, I don't know. Hopefully it's three. Open deduction space. Launch Sherlock talent. Launch imagination. Yeah, so I prefer his imagination, where he uses his own free thinking based on what he sees. So I guess you have to use visual acuity first, or peripheral vision with regards to his surrounding, by open deduction space. Well, not open deduction space, but launch his Sherlock talent. And once you do that, then you could use your imagination with regards to everything you found. So seems to be the best decision to select R1 then L1. But you can't open deduction of anything based on just looking at your surroundings. It has to be associated with the investigation itself. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can open a deductions based on just looking around at things without even investigating anything. But then that'll be a waste of the game. Like, why spend your time trying to deduce things that aren't relevant to the story? First person, third person, yep. Perform action. Open casebook. His own personal notebook. Touchpad, center touchpad does nothing. Move characters, L3. R3 is move cameras. Pretty self-explanatory and simple. Like I could deduce by just looking at this guy. Oh, he's the cop, obviously, so there's nothing much to say. But based on this, he sees footprints.
These footprints appear to be quite large.
So that's the first thing. Large footprints. So I'm going to now use my imagination. Would it allow me to think of something with regards to the footprints? It will not. So imagination might have to do with something else that's not visual.
These footprints appear to be quite...
I can't even use visual talent either. And I could see it and it's shining. I can't do anything with it. At least there's running. Thank goodness for that. Which to this day I still cannot believe.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Large footprints. Okay, so evidence, large footprints, well-maintained garden. Okay, so someone was here taking care of the garden when the crime happens. Not really. Someone could have been here any day to take care of the garden. Oh boy, I am getting tired. Jesus, I shouldn't have worked out so late. But there's large footprints. It doesn't really mean anything, it just means people were walking around here. But if someone did commit a crime, they wouldn't just leave their footprints, so footprints is probably left from someone either not paying attention or just a random person. Maybe the gardener. Okay, so I'm supposed to find matching pair of boots. Fit the size here. That shouldn't be too tough. If the gardener was gardening, he was probably wearing garden boots. Which means he's probably still on the premises. Or he could took it home. And if it's not garden boots, the person is on the premise or was on the premise. It could be anywhere by now. Not so sure. I'm sure I'm falling asleep, that's what I'm sure of. So let's get this deduction on the way.
Mr. Holmes?
Open Open up, says me.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Mr. Holmes?
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Well, it wouldn't be exactly prudent to say, hey, when was the body found? That'll make her behave a certain way. And if she was the killer, she wouldn't answer anything unusual that night. She would make up something directly. But if I ask if is there a gardener, simplest of question comes first, rather than things that are too suspicious. If she really reacts in a certain way to something like this, and there really is something going on.
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Large work, but husband took care of it himself. Okay, so Black Carey, Peter Carey, took care of the gardening himself on his retirement. So that solved that mystery. He did it himself. There were no gardeners. So, unless Mr. Peter Carey has large feet, and this large feet is someone else. So that rules out the whole gardener thing.
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream, but I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Heard a terrible scream, but he would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Drinking in his cabin before passing out. He had a temper, and he was drinking his cabin before passing out. What did he have a temper about? Is it something about his woman? Is there something about being retired? Is there something about whale hunting? Someone gave him the temper. He didn't wake up and say, you know what, today I'm going to have a temper. Just cause. I'm going to check the garden again. Yeah. Might have been actually freaking rabbit or something that pissed him off stealing his vegetables. I can see like a bunch of gophers and stuff pissing him off that he would drink with a foul temper. As much as you want to hate gophers and rabbits, like, highly doubtful that they would cause him to have a temper. Maybe he buried something in the garden, straight up rear window style. And then it was found or removed by someone.
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock. I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it. At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and... oh dear.
"7 o'clock bodies. Present 7 o'clock. 10 o'clock she saw the body. Interesting.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
Okay. Mystery solved. Not really. I just wanted to say that. So, first place I showed up, in front of a guy who's retired in his garden. There was footprints, assuming Holmes thought that there was a gardener. Turns out there's no gardener. He does the gardening by himself. Mr. Black Carey, the husband of... Would I purchase this game? Yes. When will I purchase this game? Probably next week. It's very cheap. It's like $4 or something. So